The Gravel World Championships.
Oh my God, how good is that?
The best male and female riders on the planet will be crowned here. But behind them, more world champions will be made in the battle of the age groupers. We've all qualified to be here, sacrifices have been made, and tensions are sky high. I have a feeling this is gonna be carnage, and this video is the story of what happens to me. Wish me luck.
My legs are cooked already. It's been dropped for the first time.
The World Championships this year are in Leuven in Flanders. My race, as well as the pro men, is 182 kilometres of prime Euro gravel, dirt track, cobble and road. Champagne US gravel, this is not. In this neck of the woods, there's a change in direction and surface every 2 minutes. It is going to make for fast, frantic racing, which is just how Flandrians like it. Elbows out and grit in teeth.
There are big names on the start list here. In fact, the biggest name of all is here. Non te ne forget, Mathieu Van der Poel. Lotte Kopecky is here, Marianne is here, and in fact, one of last year's World Gravel Champs, Mathieu Van der Poel, as well. Now, the way it works for my race is that the elite men are going to start, and then 5 minutes later, the first of the age group categories, 580 19 to 34-year-olds, then 2 minutes later, another 300 or so 35 to 39-year-olds, and then it's arguably the most competitive and toughest category of the weekend, the men's 40 to 44-year-olds, aka Dad's Club.
No dancing!
No, I'm not going to dance.
Unlike most age group athletes, I should say that I have been fortunate enough to have the support of both Shimano and Colnago to get here. They've made this whole thing possible. Plus, Precision Fuel and Hydration have even loaned me Johnny to help out in the feed zones. Thank you, Johnny. However, I do feel like I've had a proper age group experience, which is to say that it's about more than the race itself. It's about the whole trip, which, as I've now learned, does bring with it certain challenges, like actually having to look after yourself.
So we just had our car towed. It's the day before the race and we're at the finish, and turns out you couldn't park where we parked, which is a problem because it's our car. It's also got my wheels in it and my number and my transponder, and we don't know where it's gone. Second phone call to the police. Still can't find the car. They are very nice and very helpful. I just can't help but think that this is like the race-winning move, just being like walked out of my legs right now. I could have won. I could have won!
Car found, and with daylight fading fast, it was time to head to our accommodation, where fortunately we were being looked after, and very well too, having been invited to join the Colnago-sponsored athletes in a castle. Because of course they have a castle, they're Colnago. Although, it is important to note that neither Colnago nor GCN condone big game hunting, which the owner of the castle had clearly done a lot of.
Fox with duck.
That was a zebra.
Half a moose.
Alligator.
Bambi? There are thousands of people racing this weekend, and I think there's going to be about 1,500 today, most of whom have been lining up since the early hours of the morning. There's a guy there wrapped in a blanket. In fact, surprised me he didn't sleep here, but I've sort of played it cool, in inverted commas, so I'm going to be lining up somewhere near the back. I've done the maths, and I reckon there'll be about 1,200 people on the course in front of me within about 10 minutes. I've basically got no chance of catching the front of the elite guys. There's no way I can overtake that many people. like, I don't know why my 19-year-old jersey doesn't fit anymore. We haven't even started yet, it's already a fight.
Just wanna pack up my things and go. Just wanna be free, just wanna zone. Just wanna flow, just wanna hang with the gang, but sometimes chill on my own. Just wanna do me, just wanna doze. Just wanna live and see how it goes. And the goals just keep on going, yeah. This life we live is a roll.
It's super hard to pace because there's people everywhere going forwards, backwards. Anything technical, I can make up time. Corners, downhill, uphill, but trying to box over the rest of it, I don't know how successful I've been.
Inside you all in the soul, 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 soul. You know when the calling's calling you and the calling's calling more. You know when the calling's calling you, it's calling more.
The first 80 kilometres was a total roller coaster, and immediately it was just a total assault on the senses, just total chaos. Thousands of spectators cheering, bike riders everywhere, chopping and changing direction and road surface and obstacles to avoid. It was just absolutely bonkers.
It looks like he's doing all right. He's about 30 seconds off the lead, sitting in about 45th place at the minute, so he's looking strong, looking strong.
You know when the calling's calling.
Bit concerned about the state of the legs, but just going to keep eating and drinking and enjoying. At no point could you switch off. There was no point at which you could just sit there and zone out and just pedal along. It was fast, it was frantic, and you were constantly having to think about what was coming up. The race did settle down after a little while though, and it was when we hit some anonymous Belgian berg that I started to sort of feel like a little bit of a twinge of fatigue in my legs. And I was thinking, like, it's okay. I mean, we've probably done like 45, 50 kilometres by now. And I flicked pages on my Wahoo and it said 25 kilometres ridden. And I was like, oh no. One of the most frequently asked questions in recent weeks after,
Hey Si, isn't your big gravel race coming up?
was,
How's the training going for that?
yeah, about that. I had a plan, I really did. My problem, like many of you though, is that life's kind of busy and prioritising training over everything else just isn't really an option. No matter how hard I try, I have between 4 and 6 hours a week to train, depending on what else I manage to fit in with work, which admittedly does often mean cool cycling stuff. The truth is, I wanted to try something different, like a little experiment. So Rob Hales is a multi-time world champion on the track and a former British national road race champion as well. And I recalled that he once said that his superpower at the end of long road races had been the fact that a lot of his training was done in the gym. Now, I need a superpower at the end of a long race because I sure as hell can't do long training rides. So I phoned him up.
Hello.
Hi Rob, Si Richardson here.
Sorry?
Simon Richardson, remember?
Remind me.
Rob went on to tell me that he used to do 3-week blocks of lifting big weights in the gym, followed by 2-week blocks focusing on riding. Great. Although, he did have a word of warning.
One of the things that you're going to have to look out for is it will wear you out. If you're doing it right, it will absolutely knacker you.
He wasn't wrong. Now, being tired at work didn't seem to be a problem. I'm not sure anyone noticed. The issue was that I was too tired to ride my bike. And that's what I love doing. So I thought I would probably try doing some weights another time. Maybe when I'm 50. Which leaves me here with the same level of fitness as always, which is to say, quite for 2 hours. Seeing as I'm not exactly at my peak, I figured I'd try to do my best in other areas, like wearing aero stockings. Ha! No, not aero stockings. I did shave my legs though, and I got all the nutrition I could lay my hands on. And plus, of course, there's the bike. Oh yes, there's the bike. This is actually the one that I raced on in order to qualify to be here for the World Championships back in April. Now, Shimano kitted me out with the, at that point, unreleased GRX Di2 12-speed group set. You can see I've got double chainring set up here. That was perfect for the high speeds that even I was managing to achieve. It's paired with that close ratio 12-speed cassette at the back. Now, most of the elite riders that I've spotted here are running Dura-Ace chain sets, which have a power meter or can do, and also, crucially, have bigger chain rings on as well, something that I don't feel like I really need. But most of those elites are still using GRX rear derailleurs to take advantage of that clutch for the chain management system, and also often the GRX levers as well, which are a little bit different, a bit more textured, a bit grippier than the Dura-Ace versions. Now you can see that this is all hung on a Colnago G4-X frame set. Now this also, when I raced it last, was unreleased, so it was just as well that Colnago gave me this stealth yellow one, so nobody would notice. Now it's basically like the gravel version of Tadej Pogacar's race bike. Were he here, that's what he would be on. In fact, one of his UAE Team Emirates teammates, Isaac Del Toro, is here and is on a very nice looking green version of that one. The bike rode brilliantly last time. You notice on there though that there are no bling upgrades, no fancy bits, no 3D printed doobries or carbon fandangles, and that's because when I race I tend to be fairly conservative with my equipment choice. I just want something that works really well, rides really well, and is super reliable. Like the rider. I wish. Are cooked already. It's not good. I'm a little bit cross myself. I honestly thought I'd boxed pretty clever, but yeah, my legs are pretty empty. So I'm just sliding back to group after group. Just grabbed a bowl from the Precision guys, so hoping that's going to help bring me around a bit. And then by the time it got to 60k, pretty much the lights went out. And I was just thinking, oh my God, it's a 182 kilometer race and a third of the way in, and I feel dead. Wow, this is really biting now. I'm finding it super tough. Just getting overtaken by everyone. There's nothing in the legs still. So they're able to hang into groups when it's flat. And as soon as it goes uphill, I'm off back to the next one. While I was in my very dark place at about 110 kilometers and I was questioning my life choices, thinking how much it sucked to be a GCN presenter. Told you, it was a dark place. And there was group after group coming past me and I couldn't really do anything to lift my pace. And then at some point, just a little bit of life came back into my legs. I can't really describe it other than the fact that I didn't feel quite so terrible. And this guy came past wearing white kit, white bike, very like whitey blonde hair. And I was like, I think that's Valtteri Bottas. With Valtteri Bottas! And sure enough, as we rode past any spectator on the course, they would shout, Valtteri! So I was like, oh yeah, it's definitely him. And anyway, it was just the absolute perfect timing because he was someone I could just sort of focus on and be like, right, okay, let's not lose this wheel. And I was able to like chop some turns with him. And then we caught up with a big group. I sort of sat in for a little bit and then I started to, again, feel better and better and better. And then I ended up moving to the front of that bunch And that was it, I was back in the race again. And then unfortunately I didn't see Valtteri again, actually. It sounds really weird. It was just quite a pivotal moment for me, actually. Not that I'm a super fan, I'm not really an F1 fan, but just having a point of reference in the race just sort of seemed to help turn things around for me, really.
I have some good news as I'm coming through to finish the first of 2 finish circuits. My legs have come round, God knows where from, but that is good. I've had a caffeine gel, that is also good. So yeah, I'm in a good group now, feeling a little bit more positive about life in general.
So we're just checking in on where Sai is currently. The last time we saw him was just across the forest here. He was leading out a big group off into the penultimate loop. I believe he's sitting in about 82nd position at the moment, and he's just come through the timing for 140k. So we're expecting him down here in just a few moments, and hopefully he's still doing pretty strong. I heard from the guys that they've just got a bottle off to him as well, so even better.
As I came in to Leuven to start the final lap of the finish circuit, it was a world away from how I'd felt the previous time through. There's this little cobbled kicker in the town, and I'd had to drop it into the little chainring and just grovel up it the first time in. The second time in, I was in the big ring, out the saddle, like loving life. I mean, I literally, it's not very often in a bike race where you can be at your lowest ebb thinking that you're not going to be able to finish, and then to suddenly be okay again. But that's what it was.
Things are looking up. Just putting a little dig. My legs are a hell of a lot better than they were. Oh my God! How good is that?
I've just finished on an absolute high, like just racing flat out into Leuven, tacking up little climbs. Yeah, it was great. I didn't win out of my group, by the way, just in case you're wondering. I think when I look behind, I think at one point there was about 30 of us, and I think I was like, I don't know, would have been 5th out of that lot. So yeah, not exactly my finest result in any way, shape or form, however you want to cut it, but it didn't really matter. That wasn't what I was there for.
Oh my God, just finished. Just absolutely wild. I don't think I've ever done anything like it.
So my final result in, don't forget, the most competitive race category of the entire weekend, men's 40 to 44-year-olds, was 76th out of 200 and something. So it's not a result I am proud of, in the sense that, like, yeah, I don't feel proud to have come 76th, basically. But that doesn't matter really, because when I set out at the start, I didn't have a finished position in mind, because I feel like there were so many variables. I didn't want to have the whole experience hinging on a fairly meaningless position for me. So actually what I set out to do was to, it's really cliched, but enjoy it, which is not something that I often do in the heat of races, and to finish strongly and not on my knees. So the winner of my category finished in 5 hours and 11 minutes. So still some way short of Mathieu Van der Poel's time. I think it would have placed him 130th in the men's elite. So not terrible. There were actually a few ex-pros in the mix, I noticed. My time was 5 hours 34 minutes, so a long way down, really. Inevitably, after a race like that, there are always the kind of what ifs. And I did sort of have a little, what if I'd not had that bad patch where I thought I was going to not just retire from the race, but retire from cycling and possibly from GCN as well. But there wasn't anything I could do about it, really, I don't think. It was what it was. So yeah, whilst I'm not proud of my result, I'm very happy with my entire race. That was genuinely one of the wildest bike races I have ever done. Certainly since I retired from pro racing. I was absolutely bonkers. Belgium put on such a show, and I was always a little bit cynical about age groupers in triathlon. I know it sounds awful, but like, I don't know, I sort of like, I couldn't see the attraction, but now having done it in something like this and been on the same course at the same time as the elites with all the spectators and all the buzz and the atmosphere, it was absolutely brilliant. Absolutely amazing. I've got to say huge thanks to Shimano and Colnago for making this happen. I wouldn't be here without them. The bike was just flawless. Genuinely, like the amount of people that had mechanical problems, whatever they were, whether it was like drop chains, jammed gears, flats, like the people just on every corner picking themselves up out of bushes. And yeah, it's just flawless, brilliant. And I might have had too knobblier a tyre, but it did make it good fun, railing descents and going past people. And every time we got to a bit of mud, and there were people decking it everywhere. It was hilarious.
If you fancy having a go at the Gravel World Championships in 2025, I couldn't recommend it enough. You will need to qualify via the Gravel World Series, of which there are many events to choose from. Plus, it's also worth noting that this super fun course in Flanders will be permanently signposted and available for anyone to ride at any time. Something that I would also totally recommend. Just be careful where you park your car in Leuven. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up and make sure you subscribe to GCN for more videos like this one.